Hello and welcome to the Thursday, February 20th, 2025 edition of the SANS Internet Storm Center's Stormcast. My name is Johannes Ulrich and today I'm recording from Jacksonville, Florida. If you're into gaming, then you probably are somewhat familiar with the cat and mouse game between cheaters in online games and software trying to prevent cheating in these online games. Now, the tricky part here is that quite often software that claims to allow you to bypass some of these cheat protections actually turns out to be malware. And Xavier ran into a case like that. He did find a particular piece of software that called itself Xing Code Unblocker 2025. Xing Code is one of these anti-cheat softwares. So this apparently tries to unblock the anti-cheat software. At least that's what it claims to do. However, what sort of attracted Xavier's attention was not the cheating part here or the anti-cheating part, but instead that these executables had PowerShell code enabled, embedded in the code, and that of course looked very much like malware, which it then turned out to be. XWorm is what Xavier identified it as. Interesting obfuscation technique, and I think Xavier is still looking for some help here to really identify everything that's happening here with this particular malware. There are links to the virus total copies of the malware in the diary. Well, and then we got some interesting news from Microsoft today regarding some real breakthrough advances when it comes to quantum computing. And of course, that's always one thing to watch. Everybody's sort of afraid of, when do we have to switch to quantum safe ciphers from a security point of view? And this is sort of one of those breakthroughs that may significantly accelerate that deadline. So definitely something to worry about and to watch. Microsoft calls this new essentially processor that they developed the Majorana 1 chip. And the name comes from a specific particle they're using here. Actually, it's not sort of a normal particle, but really sort of an assembly of particles that's constrained on the chip by, a very tiny wire that essentially limits how this particle can behave. So this is not sort of your regular conductor or anything like this. They call it a topological circuit. Lots of little bit salesmanship here in the article, but underneath it all, there is a real breakthrough here in having the ability to build quantum computers with possibly thousands of qubits with low error rates. These are really kind of the things that were missing from quantum computing so far, and probably make breaking of encryption algorithms that are not quantum safe much more realistic than what we had before. So definitely look into these algorithms. I think that's the first time for me that I'm really worried that, within the next 5 to 10 years, we do have something like this available in probably Azure's cloud for cheap for everybody to use that could break potential ciphers. We'll have to see what the details work out to be in once there's some more independent testing of these circuits. But this certainly looks like they moved it sort of from the research phase where it worked once to the engineering phase where they get to work it repeatedly. Well, and then we have some interesting threat intelligence coming from Google. Google is observing what they consider a Russian-linked threat actor phishing signal accounts from Ukrainian victims. And this is, again, one of these examples where the user interface does not really communicate well to the user what's happening behind the scenes. Signal uses QR codes for a number of purposes. One purpose is to easily communicate to a user the address for a group channel. So if I would like to invite you to my group channel, I would send you a QR code, you scan it with your device, and then you're a member of the group. However, there is another more critical thing that you can do with QR codes, and that is linking a new device to your account. So what the threat actor does here is they're setting up a new device for Signal. That new device will display a QR code to be scanned by a device that's already connected to Signal, so the two devices can share the same account. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're taking that QR code, they're sending a message to the victim claiming that this is their new group channel. And then when they're scanning that QR code, they're not actually connecting the group channel. Instead, they're linking their account to the attacker's device. So the attacker will now see any future messages being sent to the victim's Signal account. This, of course, not breaking any of the encryption or sort of integrity of the Signal communication channel. This is, again, one of these human interface issues. Signal apparently has released an update to address some of that, make it more obvious what's happening here. Haven't played with it yet to see how different it is from the old user interface. Well, just a quick update here without a link in the show notes, but I just saw that CISA added a new Fortinet and Palo Alto vulnerability to their exploited vulnerabilities catalog. I think these are vulnerabilities I already talked about, so I'm not going to cover it here any further, but with all these vulnerabilities in these devices, always hard to keep them apart. Well, that's it for today. Thanks to the users who noticed the green tint in yesterday's video. I think there's a defect in the camera I'm using. Still experimenting with that. Let me know how it goes. I'm not that great with color, so trying to do a little bit trial and error here. Thanks, and talk to you again tomorrow. Bye.